Welcome to The Forge Focus, a podcast through The Forge, where we focus on our mission of enhancing manhood through our three pillars of positive imagery, quality fellowship, and service to others. These three pillars were created to help fight toxic masculinity and promote a healthy aspect of manhood. Here we will have personal discussions with men in the community and beyond who exemplify this mission and can share their experiences and perspectives in efforts to make us all just a little better than we were before listening in. I mean, hey, let's face it, we can all learn from each other, right? And now, your host, Ebony McNeil. Prepare to be forged.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ebony coming to you from The Forge. It's our first episode of our podcast, The Forge Focus. We're going to take the conversation that we normally have in our Forge organization, and we're going to focus on individual men in the community who can help us enhance our manhood and move our movement forward so we can have impact in our local community and society as a whole. As you know, we have an organization called The Forge. We focus on enhancing manhood from the inside out. What that means is two simple words: character building. So we focus on three pillars. First pillar is positive imagery. Second pillar is quality fellowship, and the third is service. We realize all those three things are necessary to work holistically to enhance society's view of manhood, and that is our mission. So without further ado, we're going to get started right now. I'm going to introduce you guys to somebody that you probably all know. Anybody in Berks County knows this man. It's easy to see him when he walks in the room. 9 times out of 10, he's the biggest guy there. 6'5", muscles popping out of his polo shirt. You know what I mean? He's a superstar basketball player. Killed it at Reading High School, also went over to Alvernia, is on the Wall of Fame, top 10 in all their statistical categories by the time he graduated. But most importantly, this man in the community is a powerhouse. I want y'all to meet my good friend, one of the first people to ever believe in me with The Forge, Tillman Sims. Go ahead, Tillman.
Appreciate you. Excuse me, allow me to reintroduce myself. My brother Eb always likes to rob me of an inch or two. I ain't 6'5", baby. Make it a little bit bigger, but it's okay. But that's what it is. It's fun, spirit. Excuse me, I'm just going to lean back a little bit, get a little comfortable with you. Can we go to church with you? We can go to church with you. My brother. First of all, thank you for having me as your guest. It's an honor. Privilege. I'm so proud of you and everything you're accomplishing and the things that we do. I do want to segue to something really, really important for the viewers. I have some people ask me, why don't you attend the Forge forums that happens every Wednesday? And what you got to check out, okay? Wednesday, the last one's Wednesday the 22nd, correct? Yep. Yes, sir. I'm always in tune. I just can't be there on a Wednesday. But just because I'm not present doesn't mean I'm not there. I'm always there in spirit. We talk fluidly about what's upcoming, what's going. Like I said, I'm involved. I'm there. I'm supportive. There's so many different ways that you can be involved. Just your presence sometimes can't be felt. But your vibe, your impact, what you're trying to push out can always be felt. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that people know you can support in so many other ways. Because sometimes, schedule doesn't allow it. Kids, life, wives, whatever. It hinders you from being somewhere in that moment. But the opportunity to still give back, connect, reach out is super important. So I just wanted to share that with you real quick.
Well, I appreciate it. And as I know, you and I talk almost every time I'm about to have the Forge, you give me this phone call that keeps me focused. Yes, sometimes when I'm even doubting myself, you'll hit me up and tell me, don't stress it. Mm-hmm. You got this. You're where you're supposed to be. So I know you're with me. Yes, sir. You've been with me from the beginning too. So thank you for that. Thank you for always supporting us. And then again, people don't even know you helped me out when I first decided to go I knew I needed an EIN number. Didn't even know anything about it, but I came to you. You helped me out. So from the beginning, you've been there. So I appreciate that big time.
That means a lot. Seriously. Thank you. It's good to see you grow.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in and get started. Tell me a little bit about your organization. Again, you got these great stats. Everybody knows you, but we're here to talk about manhood and our impact on the community. So give us, our listeners, actually, let them know about your organization, why you started it, and what it means to you.
Sure. Talking about myself is not one of my good virtues. So let me just digress to what it is. It wasn't just me who started TLC. There was a group of brothers who banded together, and we came up with an idea to do something through golf. Myself, Sean McConwell, Lenny Pan, we were out in the golf course and said, listen, we can start our own golf tournaments. Let's do our own golf tournaments. We can do better. We can have this fun stuff. We can make it fun and not overcharge people. We can really, really put out something great together. And that was what started it. And then through that, I kind of branched off before COVID hit and wanted to do more stuff educational wise. Didn't know really what it was yet, but I wanted to do something fun. So we started with taking the Caddy Mentor program and started building off of that and taking kids to the course and all the other stuff. Then that summer of COVID, we started the education series. And then from there was where I found my love, my passion, because I had the ability to educate others about local history and how it impacted their lives on an everyday basis. And so for me, I was always taught history, not just from a black man's perspective, but from a white man, from a Hispanic man. Everyone always tell their version of the city's history to me, and I just absorbed it, and I took it in. I was like, wow. And I saw the beauty of what Reading and Berks County really had. You know what I'm saying? So it was very, very important to me. And then moving forward, as it got more fun, I started to add, and I started to go a little bit crazy. And that's when I took ownership of who I am. I found my lane and I stayed in it. No matter what happened, I stayed in my lane. Being unique, being creative, and being myself, I always felt like I can be in a room and give you 100% of me because I'm comfortable here explaining what I have. So it's been great. Like I said, we done branched off into many different things. We have a family fun series. We did the Your Presence is Impactful. Last year we had Find Your Why. We have an adventure series now where we partner with BCAP and we do stuff where we leave Berks County, we leave the state and go to different places. So partnering with different organizations has been fun. This year, the theme is Inspire Your Curiosity. We're trying to, again, invoke your curiosity to learn more about what's going on. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Love it, love it. And you branched out and you are in a lane that right now nobody else is in. It's so crazy. Like, your stuff stands out. Whenever you do events, everybody sees it as that event. Like, there's no competition. There's a lot of events, especially in our community, people are doing a lot of the same thing. People are having similar festivals or similar events, but your events are completely unique.
Appreciate that.
They are high impact. You know, you and I talk about it all the time. You say, all right, how big can I make this thing? And it always works. So I wanted to say great job with all that. And a good thing is you are impacting these kids. Like, kids love you. My sons, if I told them the night we were shooting this, I told them it was you, they wanted to come. I said, you can't come, but
it's the greatest feeling. They
literally love you. Like, if I'm on the phone with you, is that Tillman? And they're all excited. But you do that with all the kids. Yep. Kids love you. Us adults love you.
Appreciate that.
Speak on how you have all this love, but yet you have so much integrity. I have never seen you waver from who you are, no matter the crowd, no matter what we're talking about. Can you speak to that? Because to me, that's important for a man. Sure. So speak to how you live in that integrity.
If I'm being super clairvoyant and super honest, number one, I'm a flawed individual. I made mistakes. You know, I kept a bad attitude at certain times. I looked the wrong way, as DMX said at one point in time. But I understand what wrong brings. I get it. And at this point in time in my life, what I started to do is I found what my peace was. And oftentimes as men, we get so lost when we do have peace in front of us. The world tells us that's not enough, or it's not acceptable, and we gotta venture off and do whatever else, or be out in the club, or do all these different things that the world tells us to do. The minute we take ownership of our peace is the minute we have arrived. And things like, you know, things that we became addicted to, things that we got lost on, you know, the flesh, and things that make a man weak, no longer is absorbing us, because we now have found our peace. And the minute you find that peace and you gravitate toward it, can't be disturbed. So when I walk into a room, especially with children, that's where I'm most comfortable, because that's the most I can identify with. I can have conversations with kids because I identify with them the most. There's not much that we need to talk about other than just me being me. You know what I mean? So it is a great, great feeling to have that. I just was telling one of the kids out there, out at Wilson, actually, the greatest compliment they give me is they call me uncle. And we're not even We're not even the same color. We're not even the same creed, but they don't see that. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm breaking down barriers, not from being like a Martin Luther King or being vocal or any of that, just through my actions, the steps that I walk. I bring everyone with me. That's part of the journey. So when we do events, you know, or host something, it's exactly what it is. It's an event. It's a show. But it's not just me. I want to bring everybody with. I want everyone to come with. So that way you don't think about competition. You don't think about, well, how can I get something out of this? What you think about is the mission. What's the mission? Let's be impactful. Let's make a difference in our community. Let's do it together. You know what I'm saying? And like that, it feels good. So to say how it is with kids, I just love them. And I genuinely share that with them. Like I tell them that, like, I appreciate you and I love you. You know, that's the communication that comes from it. And you know, I'm a big hugger, you know, so if they didn't want it, they getting it.
And it's big hugs.
Yeah, big hugs, man. Nothing but love.
Well, you just touched on something that was paramount. You know, you said you tell the kids you love them. Transparency, me and you, every time we end a phone call, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. That's important. And you, Hamilton, Greg, you were some of the first few guys that ever actually made me feel comfortable saying that, ending a phone call when we leave each other's presence. And I think that's impactful because men, like you said, men don't say that enough.
They don't.
Again, my dad, unfortunately, when he passed, I could only remember 3 times him saying I love you. And I say I love you to my kids now. Probably I oversaturate it, but you know what? I'd rather oversaturate it than them even have a question in their mind.
100%.
And it's important to hear other men say it, because if we get comfortable saying it, that's how we break that cycle of not anybody hearing men say it to each other. Mm-hmm. It's okay, you know, we don't have to preface it by no homo. We don't have to preface it by, yo, I don't mean nothing, but yo, I love you, bro. Like, we just say I love you, bro, and end our conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's imperative, and that's something that society needs to hear more of, because we do. One thing, when you develop a great relationship between men, you do love each other. Absolutely. You may not, and some of us, the way we were raised, may not register it as, oh, I love this man, but it's something powerful, because you know that man has your best interest at heart. 100%. So when you mentioned saying I love you, I wanted to say, you know, that's very, very impactful, not just to me, not just to the people you meet, but if you keep that up, it's going to change how kids see. True. Saying that phrase.
It's for me, I use it as a term of vulnerability. You know, most men are, you know, men of color, inner city men, doesn't matter what color you are, you grow up with impoverished, whatever may happen to you. You know, being vulnerable is something that is kind of stripped from you. You got to be strong. You got to be tough. You can't show emotion. So saying I love you to someone almost could sum you up as a punk. Because the definition of love that was spit out in the world is, you know, roses and flowers and all this, you know, whimsical things that happen that have an idea with a relationship that is, you know, non-platonic. You know, it's like, oh, well, you got feelings for him or something? Why are you saying you love him? Whereas when you step back and break down the word love, see, love is just that. It's just a word. But it's the connection that implies that word that gives it meaning. So when you have connection, love, and saying it and speaking it, that's a whole different meaning. So what I do by saying love, I love you, I appreciate you, I'm now introducing a new vocabulary, a new language that will become a norm. The same with what we do with TLC by introducing new things that you probably wouldn't have done before. So when people say, I never been to a golf course before, when they get in their 20s, like, yeah, I was at a golf course before. Oh, I never left Reading. Oh, yeah, I did. We did that with TLC. I'm introducing things that were normally barriers in the past, and now saying those barriers are now removed. Those excuses aren't there no more. You've heard the word I love you coming from another man, and you've said the word I love you going to another man. You know what I'm saying? You've been out of the city, you've ventured out, so there's no excuses why you can't grow. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I mean, you do a lot of things. You're a busy man, you have a full-time job, you're a great father, and you have this amazing organization. So let's figure, next, let's talk about what you do as a man to keep yourself motivated and full of energy so you can handle all these things. You are a father, great father. I see I watch everything you post, and you and I talk about it, and the feedback you give me on fatherhood is amazing. So we're going to make sure we go into that too. But let's talk about the discipline it takes to be the man that you are. Like, again, you have a very busy and full-time job, plus you're also running this amazing organization, and you are a father. So talk to me about how you start your day and what discipline it takes to make it all the way through on a consistent basis every time.
Well, first, committing to what it is that you believe in. And we talked about this as going back to when the Forge and the days that you would choose to have the Forge Forum. And we talked about that. And I would say to you, I have designated days that are days specifically for my children during the week, which is Wednesdays and Thursdays. And that's one of the reasons why I'm unable to attend the Forge Forum. And we spoke about that. And I said to you, if you are the leader with your passion for whatever it is you got to do, it needs to fit your schedule, because no one's going to be able to do it the way you do it. You understand? So that means everybody can't come along with you on those particular days in the present. Me being one of them, because I'm fully committed to the schedule I have. And my boys, they know, my daughter knows like what my schedule is. So that way we get time, we get that family time. So my mornings start normal morning. I try to get some gym time in when I'm not donating money to the gym, by the way.
Giving them money.
I need to get back on track. I'm not gonna lie to you. That way you see me as, a little bit taller than 6'5" again. You know what I mean? I'm getting a little rounder. That's why
I didn't want to put too much distance between my height and your height. I was trying to keep myself in line.
I got you. But if I get any rounder, I might be 6'2". You know what I mean? I don't know. But it's just, you got to be fully committed to what you believe in, and making yourself available for your children is always super duper important. And for me, I never saw my kids as a burden. So it was never like they were in my way. You know what I mean? They were actually, when I was going through whatever I was going through mentally, they were my escape, because they were my adventure partners. We would get on the road and just go somewhere, and I would get lost on purpose just to see what I would find. And taking those back roads and just on the road of discovery has led to what I do with TLC. Everything I've done with them, I'm doing with other kids in the community. That's how impactful it is. I've seen these things. I've done these things. I've learned about it. So now what I've done with my kids that made me feel good, I'm sharing it with other kids, and it makes me feel even better. And my kids are on board with it because they know and they love and they see how I share with others, that are not like, well, why are you doing that with them? They're like, you got to do this. You got to show them this because it made me feel this way. They would love it too. And it's so beautiful to see them act that way, and just embrace it. So, like I said, my morning, my days, work, when I do get some gym time in, and then after school is some type of activity. And I try to be involved in this as much as I can, through coaching and different organizations that I'm a member of, and just trying to enlighten others. But I also want to be a figure in the room as well. Like I want to make sure that we're represented in some shape, form, or fashion. Good men, you know what I mean? Decent men who actually care. And I think one of the greatest things are of men who not only love and take care of their children, but it shows a true definition of the value of a man who loves and take care of other people's children. So, powerful. Real true. So, sorry.
And that's one of the things I did notice about you too. It's funny because you and I will talk, and you'll say you got a busy day. And I mean, I lead a busy life as well, but there's times I look up and you've been at 4 birthday parties in the same day. And I don't even know how you did. Plus coached the game, plus took your kids on a trip in 24 hours. So there's a lot of discipline, a lot of energy that you got to expend. But like you said, I can tell you are passionate about all portions of your day.
Yeah.
And you realize that you being there, how much impact that has on the places you're going, 100%. But also on the people who are looking at you. And there's a lot of people that pay attention to what Tillman does. Mm-hmm. And you don't do what you do to show off or to play a role. You do what you do, and they naturally gravitate. So it's very impactful, and you are a tribute to what a man who is living in his passion and desires to be impactful can do, because all you do is get up every day and you live it, and everybody notices and pays attention, and it comes across amazingly authentic. So we need more brothers like you out there. You're one of the ones I look up to, even though, and I mean look up to literally and figuratively, but seriously, it's you're the kind of person that I pay attention to, and I know a lot of other people do. So thank you for that.
Means a lot. But that goes back to what I had mentioned earlier, your peace. Me running around, seeing I have fun doing that, and my peace isn't disturbed. I'm not going in rooms where I feel uncomfortable. You're not going to see me in a bar taking pictures and hanging out, because that's not my space. That's not what I like to do. And people ask me, let's go have some drinks. I mean, we can do that at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? That's about the only time we're going to do, but you're not going to see me at 1, 2 o'clock, unless it's, one time, special time of year. But in all reality, I love being on all these different, and half the time I don't even take pictures of it and post it, because I'm just, moving around. But the reason why I do post the way I do is never to show off, never to boast. But I have so many men tell me, like, well, it's my kid's mom's fault, it's this person, it's that, it's all these things, it's the things that have crippled me. And I get it, I truly do, because I've been through a lot of things. But all you have to do is take action for yourself, is what I say. I'm never going to sit here and judge another man for whatever choices they made, either in fatherhood, parenting, being a man, lesser man, whatever those things are, because we all been through something. Okay. And I'm the last person to judge anyone. And my mother taught me that. And my mother, when she passed away, she'd been through a lot herself, alcoholism, drugs, all those different things. And she taught me the most valuable lesson in life when she was high out of her mind. You know what that was? Unconditional love. Because she loved me no matter what state of mind she was in. And that moment on, I never passed judgment on anybody going through anything, because who am I to judge? I've been through so much. But what I did know is that no matter what state she was in, she made sure that she was present for me. And that is why I try to take the extra step to be there for kids. If they tell me, hey, I got a game, can you come by? Absolutely. If I can, I'll be there. If I can't stay long, I'll make sure you see me. I'll sit down in the front, I'll do my little, I see you, whatever else. And if I gotta go, I gotta go. But I was there. The effort was there. You know what I'm saying? Plus, like I said, it makes me feel good. I feel good. I feel good all over.
It's something you said too. We're talking about being a father even to other people's kids.
Yeah.
That's impactful, because I know me, outside of the term dad, one of my favorite things to hear is coach.
Yes.
I mean, I've been coaching Little League for over 20 years. Excuse me, 12 years. I ain't that old. 12 years straight. But it's funny because there's kids now, 17, 18 years old, still call me Coach Eb. They're 6'4", 6'5", looking down on me, but they still look at me as Coach Eb. You know what I mean? And that's one of the best feelings in the world. And you got to take it serious.
Absolutely.
And I think being a great dad also helps you be a great coach.
Absolutely.
Because you understand that when you coach, you're coaching to help these kids win and learn the fundamentals of their sport, but you're coaching them in a way that helps mold and shape them for the community, helps mold and shape them as young men and women to help send them out and be better people for it.
Yes.
I loved when I was just coaching Little League football, and we just won the Bayfield Championship. And honestly, we had amazing talent. There was no question. We had kids on this team who would dominate at any school they went to. But one of the things we had was a family. It was crazy. We had been doing the same chant since these kids were playing flag football at 5 years old. I have videos of these kids, little high voices. We always started with any dogs in the house. And when they barked at 5, it's rah, 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 rah. By the time we got done, they got voices deeper than ours. But they all knew it. They all came up to me every season. We're going to chant that right after every game, after every practice, before every game. And we had this crazy bond where the moms would tell me, thank you for being in my son's life. Thank you for doing this. And it took me a few years to realize I'm not coaching just because I want my kids to learn football. I'm coaching because I want my kids to have a band of brothers, and to have a good band of brothers, you need a dad there. So I felt like I always really, really cared about the kids, and it took, it took a few years for me to grasp that, and now I know how important that is. So it's crazy because I know you coach a lot, but again, you're also a great dad. So like you have to find that balance too of being a dad and a coach. So I know it's rough for me at times, because I know my son, he wants me to coach him every year, real talk. But halfway through the year, he's tired of me coaching him because I know him differently and I hold him to the standard of my son. So I know it's different. Talk to me a little bit about how you balance that out.
Well, the coaching aspect, I will say this. Every good coach who's there for the right reason, I'm not there to teach you how to win. I'm there to teach you how to be a man. You know what I mean? The same way winning will come. Everything comes with winning comes through repetition. There's going to be some failure, but without failure, there's no success. How do you know you're succeeding if you didn't fail? That's how that works. So part of the reason I teach the kids that is so you understand if you're only worried about winning at a young age, you lost the whole objective to begin with. I've never once posted about if my son has won or lost the game or how many points or touchdowns or any of that stuff, because I don't care. Because that's not the purpose. The purpose is how well you did today versus how well you did yesterday. Did you get better today than you were yesterday? So for me, talking with my boys, we have a very, very small window to discuss any game, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, from the time they get off the field to the car to home, but usually to the car to home. That's the only time we can talk about whatever it is that's going on with the sports. After that, you're back to being my son. We're back to being family. We're on family time. We don't talk about it no more. So whatever you need to get out, I didn't play good or whatever the case may be, or do you think I did this? Sure. Okay. And then once we're done, we're done. We don't harp on it. I'm not at home like, man, if you just would have ran through that kid, you would have scored a touchdown. If you would get the ball and turn, we don't do that. You get a couple minutes. I let it go. And then I allow them their time to process it. And if they want to get better, they'll say, hey, Dad, do you mind if we go outside and we work on my left-hand dribbling? Dad, do you mind if we catch the football? I drop the pass. I want to work on getting better. They come to me, which changes the whole dynamics, because now I'm like, yes, I'll do anything you want. You want me to shine? I'll get you a trainer. I'll get you whatever else because you want to, not because I want to. There's no forcing there. So it actually works out really, really good. I'm in a blessed situation, with the kids. But that just comes down to, again, just that level of setting the guidelines between family time, sports time. There has to be some time a conduit in between that says, pause, you're back to being my son now. Because otherwise we'll talk sports all day long, and then next thing you know, that's lost because now I'm just coach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now I'm dad first. You know what I mean? All day.
Love that. Love that. Love that. All right. Well, you mentioned something that really intrigued me when you said about, it's not about winning or losing. It's about, are you better today than you were yesterday? So we're going to definitely talk about that next. Let's focus on talking about that. All right. So you had mentioned that, you talked to your son about not winning or losing. You don't even worry about that. You're talking about getting better today than you were yesterday. Now, me, that's a strong statement because that's how I look at manhood in general. You know what I mean? It's not about being this perfect dude, because ain't none of us perfect dudes. It's about being better today than I was yesterday. And it can be in the smallest way. You know what I mean? So talk a little bit about that. You don't even have to talk about it as in accordance with your son. What do you think about that topic? I mean, being better today than you were yesterday.
That's something that I truly, truly try to adapt every day, every morning. Just being better than I was yesterday as a man and doing something that pushes me to do something more than what I did yesterday. No matter what that is, whether it's saying hello to someone I didn't speak to before, just taking that kindness factor and feeling good about it, being genuine about my kindness, not forcing it on anybody, not just saying, well, I need to be kind today. No, it comes from the soul. Like it's a real thing. So I think it's great for men to understand that as well, that, whatever you did yesterday, it's over now. Now today is a new day. It doesn't matter how many goals you had yesterday, new day today, got to crush one of them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of that in a nutshell.
Well, it's funny because going to lunch with you be messing with me? Am I being better today than yesterday? Because I'll be eating healthy, and we be at the farmer's market, and we always end up sitting near the donut counter, and that is my weakness. And I'll be sitting next to you, and you'll be like, "Look, I'm about to go get some of these donuts, take them to the office, and I'll wait for you." Next thing I know, I'm looking at a coconut covered donut with my name on it, and I feel very accomplished when we can leave, and I haven't eaten it. That's better today than yesterday.
That is a huge accomplishment. Seriously,
them things is banging, bro.
Absolutely.
But in all honesty, you know, when you said that, that's one way I gauge myself is what situation came up that had it come up today, had it come up yesterday, last week, last month, would I have handled differently? Would I have handled worse? You know, and that's something that as all men, whether you are at the top of your game, whether you are going through recovery, whether you are getting out of the system, whether you are just starting a new career, it's not about being perfect. It's about looking at everything you do in a day and did you do it better today than you did yesterday? And if you can do that, you can go to sleep better tonight than you did the night before because you know you made a new step.
True story.
So that's one thing. When you mentioned that with your son, I had to circle back to that because that's a thought process that I think all men should be focused on, young and old.
100%.
Especially old, because we are in our own groove and we may not realize we need to get better. So once we realize that and make that step, that's a big difference.
Huge. And that goes so far, especially with, you know, as we go to speaking to men and speaking to children, you know, people who you love, and trying to make your voice come off with purpose. And not only that, what I've learned is that we can speak till we're blue in the face, especially with children or other adults. And I can say, hey, you know, this room here, you know, I provide all these lights in here and everything else, and everything that's here is you know, I work so hard. I give you all these things. And, you know, kids will look at you like, but Dad, they always work. What are we talking about? I don't understand. Like, why are you telling me about things that have never not worked for me? I don't get it. Today's world is much different than when we grew up, and the parents can say, man, see these lights on in here, they was off last week, and you know what it's like to not have heat, not to have the lights on, things like that. These kids have no clue. So you can't use that reference. So same thing with speaking to a man. I can't speak to a man who's been behind bars. I can't speak to a man and who's been through battling full-blown addiction. I can't speak on that. The only closest thing I can get to about addiction is I just know addiction of the flesh and I know addiction to sugar. Now, is it the same thing? Absolutely not. But saying the same thing to a kid, you got to find a way to get through to them. There has to be a way to break down that barrier. And so what I do is I walk in the room, I introduce myself, not by name, because my name is irrelevant. Doesn't matter what name I give you. If you're not interested in talking to me, you ain't gonna remember my name anyway. So I say, hey, my name's LeBron James. They're like, what? I say LeBron James, you know, or if I'm around my Latino brothers, you know what I mean? LeBron James, you know what I mean? Like I play around, but the whole purpose is now whatever wall you had up is slowly starting to come down because I humbled myself. You ain't gotta know my name. It doesn't matter. I'm not here for that. I'm not here so you can understand what it is. I just want you to talk to me. And now that we got past all the bureaucracy and all that other stuff, now I got your attention. Like, hey, what's up? And it works every single time. To the point where all these kids just call me LeBron. Like, hey, LeBron's here. Hey, LeBron. You know, it's so cute. It's so funny. And it's absolutely zero disrespect to LeBron. He's one of my favorite athletes of all time. And I like what he does off the floor. But I just use that name because it's just synonymous with, you know, the kids today. They know who he is. And then they look at me like, bro, you ain't LeBron. I know I ain't LeBron. You know what I mean? I'm Dolomite. And then I'll say something else. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just throw some you know, some curveballs or something like that just to get them laughing. You know what I'm saying? Get them rolling. Because I'm crazy. But I'm crazy about what I like. You know what I'm saying? I'm crazy about what I'm passionate about. So humbling myself and looking like a fool, I ain't got no problem. I'll dress up in a suit, you know what I mean? I'll do whatever just to bring smiles to kids. You know, I'll do the dance, I'll do whatever. I'm cool with that because my peace isn't disturbed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going outside of myself. I'm okay with looking like a fool because I want them to see it's okay to be vulnerable. And it took me almost 35 years to learn what vulnerability is. You know what I'm saying? If not more.
Man, me and you talk about vulnerability all the time.
Yes.
And it's one of the most important things I know I'm trying to develop. And I know you're working on your vulnerability.
Absolutely.
So it's important. Well, something you had said in the last comment was you had mentioned that you can't speak to somebody in full-blown addiction. And you had mentioned that addiction to sugar, addiction to flesh. We just talked about my addiction to coconut donuts and things like that. But now let me ask you this. We talked about you staying in your lane, you staying focused, you staying an amazing dad and running this organization that's impacted so many people. Now, let's be real. You're also above 6'5", light-skinned, a funny dude, nice-looking brother. I believe the devil always throws out temptations based off of our weaknesses. So explain to me some of the things the devil throws out at you and what you do to fight these things, because we all go through it, especially brothers like us who are trying to be good. That's the devil comes at us hardest because he knows if he can break us, he can make some real headway. So explain to me some of the things you go through and what you do to fight it and stay the man you are. Talk to me.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. The first thing the devil throws at me, he constantly reminds me that, number one, I ain't in the same shape I was before. So there are some things, I try to hit the same old two-step, the boogie woogie. You know what I mean? I go to the Mexicans, quinceañeras, and I get out there and try to hit that little dance, and then my body's like, "Come on, bro, you ain't built like that." So with that, I mean, every day something's going to be thrown at you. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be something from your past that will be thrown at you, something in your present that will tempt you, and something in your future that says, "Come on over. Come on over."
Yes, indeed.
Now, I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I mean? I have been watching some black exploitation films I done told you earlier. And sometimes it pulls me in. Now you gotta be like, hey, girl chose me now, you know what I mean? But I try to stay true. And the irony of the situation is that for me, in that regard, mostly everyone who I encounter treats me with respect. I don't have that image where it's like, oh, he's one of them. That, you know what I mean? Like, no, they just think I've been married for 25 years or whatever else, because I don't come off as like I got angles. You know what I mean? Them cats that be like, "Hey, Mr. Child, all right, now you keep being nice, you're gonna get," you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't do that.
You don't do all that. Go ahead now, keep being nice, you're gonna learn today. I'm not one of those old guys like that. We all had an uncle like that. You can't take him nowhere. You know what I mean? Go around people. You know what I mean?
Even at family reunions.
Everybody's suspect. Everybody can get it. Now, that's family. I don't know. That's my third cousin, sister's brother over there. I'm gonna have to get with it. Yeah. That ain't really the problem. So all good.
Well, that's good. I think a lot of it got to do with how you carry yourself. You carry yourself in a way that I'm sure plenty of women are intrigued, but you also carry yourself in a way that they know you ain't about the bullshit, just to be real. I mean, they know that, all right, yeah, that's Tillman. Yes, he's nice looking. I may be interested, but he ain't playing this game that I'm trying to play. And I think that, and I noticed that because when I go to your events, you can give a hug to 50 different women and it's never perceived as anything other than the same hug you would give me or a little kid or something like that. So, that's important. And I believe that's, again, that as men, we got to watch how we carry ourselves.
1,000%.
Same thing. In my past, I might have done a bunch of different things. I might have been not this perfect man or whatever the case would be. I was out of control when I was younger. But one thing I make sure to do now is that I carry myself in a way that you can't question if I'm even interested in doing anything like that no more. And I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but I try to make sure that what I put out doesn't leave you any question of who I am or what path I'm willing to take with you.
Yes.
I try to, you know what I mean? And I notice you do the same thing. You know what I mean? And at our forums, when we talk about things like this, that's one of the things we focus on, to say, look, man, you being a better man is going to attract better women, 100%. But you got to be willing to make sure they know that there's a line you're not even thinking about crossing. And even though that may actually provoke them even more and turn them on, and they may see it as a challenge, us as men, we got to set the tone, and we got to make sure they know there ain't no haps right here.
100%.
So I just wanted to ask you about that, because I'm sure you get it. You know what I mean? But I've always admired that. You've never been caught in no scandal, nothing crazy.
That's the whole thing, though. For a while there, when I was, really down on my luck and really felt I had a verge of self-depression about myself, the reflection in the mirror and what I felt. And, I've said this to different people, men and women, just to get a better answer, because I felt like, wow, I know how the world is today. And so many females and men there's no holds bar on, social media or just the ability to contact people. And, men will just expose themselves to a woman after they just say hello to them, like, hey, here's my picture of this, you know what I mean, with no problem. And it baffled me. And women would do the same thing. And I'm like, I never had that. Like, I hear men in the conversation like, hey, this was going on. I'm like, well, why not me? I don't understand. And even the men were like, because that's not you. You don't give yourself off like that. And for a while there, I was bothered by it. And then I was like, no, that's a compliment, because people respect me and I respect them. So because there's a mutual respect, there's none of that buffoonery going on where it's like, let me hit his inbox with the bull, because he ain't about that. And I don't hit nobody's inbox with the bull. You know what I'm saying? So it don't work like that, because one, I don't got time. Two, I got way too much respect for myself now. You know what I mean? To be like, here, boom. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen. So besides that, that's it. My craziness stems from, one, when I do hug, it's the way that I pass on positive vibes. So whether I hug 50 women or 50 men or 50 kids, it doesn't change what's going on. It's an exchange of power, an exchange of emotions. I'm just passing on what I feel, and that's the conduit. Like, I'm just take the positive energy with you. So whatever you're going with, whatever you came with today, whatever you felt when you woke up this morning, whatever's ailing you today, I hope this hug will do something for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's about it.
And again, it goes into, I mean, just keeping it real. Mm-hmm. You're one of the few dudes. I'm old school, right. And I'm very protective over my wife and kids. But there's not many people that actually seeing a picture. I have pictures I've saved with you, with my wife and kids, and you're standing there with them in the middle, and they're all hugging you, my wife, my kids, all of them. And very few people am I that comfortable with that. Right. And I legit, like, my wife will send me a picture and she knows how I get. I'm like, who's this? Who's this brother right here? But with you, she sends in, I'm like, oh, that's dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that is a testament, especially because I'm speaking from internal. That's a testament to how authentic you are and how people know that about you. True. You know what I mean? So,
but trust me when I say this, I had to go through things to get to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can imagine.
Everyone has to fall on their face at some point. Everyone has to make a wrong choice in life to make a right choice, if that makes sense. So, I made wrong choices. Some on my own accord, others just because of what I was going through at the time, and that's how I chose to react. And then there was moments where I just wasn't thinking, and I wasn't thinking about anything further than the moment, if that makes sense, which most people don't. You're just in the moment. So for me now, I do take that very, very serious. I do take those relationships serious. I do take that present being very, very serious, because at one point in time I didn't, because I didn't think about it at all.
Did you hear what you just said? No. That nugget you said, everybody, what was it? Everybody has to
do wrong.
Has to do wrong
in order to do right.
Bruh. That I had to go back to that, because that thing was serious, and I believe that is a nugget that we all need to pay attention to, because it's something that most people don't understand. You can't just be this great person. Usually it's from you make a mistake, you either hurt somebody or hurt yourself, you realize you don't want that to happen again, so you go forward. Man, that nugget was some serious business. So,
and it wasn't myself that I hurt, it was others. So for me, it was like, I don't ever want to hurt someone else again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to be in that position, because, there's, when it comes to being what you said, as far as like a stand-up man, a stand-up person, stand-up father, there's not too many things that can be said outside of that in a negative way, unless it may have involved the female or something of the opposite sex, where it's like, that person doesn't like me because of this reason, we dated or whatever else. That's how it works in the world, period, unless people do other things wrong. and they steal from people, they lie to people, they take people's money or whatever the case may be. I've never done none of those things. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the case that you can bring to the table. But the only blemish would be, from being clairvoyant, would be something that has to do with dating in the past or whatever the case may be, or wrong choices and whatever the case. That's about it. So that's how my life is summed up. He made some wrong choices in the women that he chose in life. You know what I mean? I can live with that. I can rest on my deathbed and said, here lies a man who made some poor choices, but nothing poorer than just women. You know what I mean? Like nothing like has to do with, being a character, a man who can stand up on. Right. If Ebony says, I need you to be here at this particular time to get my kids, would you be there? And I would be there before that time, because I don't play no games when it comes to kids. I feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
There's a principles that I stand on, but like I said, we've all been flawed. We've all made choices that were wrong. It's just who's willing to take ownership of that? Who's willing to say, you know what? Yeah, this is the area in which I don't know. I could have been better. I'm gonna be better today. And if I'm not better today, I'm going to try to be better tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
That's what it is.
That's where a lot of us, we all have a spot. Mm-hmm. I tell everybody got this spot where it could be your vice, it could be your weakness, it could be whatever it is. But we all got this spot that, like you said, we either hurt somebody or hurt ourselves. Yeah. And it's a shame that sometimes that's what we can even know, that what we're going to do is going to hurt each other or hurt somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we'll still do it. But we got to go through that pain usually to make us change our actions. You know what I mean? I learned a long time ago, to make a change, you got to hate something else.
Right.
And you got to hate what you did in order to not do it again.
100%.
And it's something I live by. So I think about things in my past that I did and I hate them. And there's things I hate that I did to myself and to other people. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that are actually easiest for me not to do again, because guess what? I hate it that much. So real quick, before we go, as you know about the Forge, Forge is based off Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. So my faith was a big part in why our organization even started. So before we go, I'm going to ask you, it's very important to me, because you and I have had this conversation. How important is your faith in making sure that you make it through every day?
Faith for me is kind of like the foundation of everything that I stand on. And when I say my faith is the foundation, I build everything else on top of that. So although I don't have to speak, verses throughout the day, I don't have to pour my God and my theories and whatever else on you. Even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't believe in my God, even if you don't believe in religion, period, I'm okay with that, because I'm not going to feed your religion, because what my God has given me, I channel it through my body and through my actions when I'm speaking to you. So that way you're still receiving the word. It just ain't the direct word, if that makes sense. Because oftentimes people get a little, oh man, you talking about this? No. We already had 10 minutes of conversation about the Bible verse. You didn't even know it, but you took it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So for me, yes, faith is very important. I grew up in the church. I don't have as much time to spend in the church anymore, but my faith is always with me, of course. I think it's super important for those to find faith. I think it's important to believe in something greater than yourself. And oftentimes people just get so caught up in oneself that they lose sight of a higher calling, a higher being. So whatever that may be, whatever that purpose may be, it has to be outside of yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And people just forget how powerful God is. You understand what I'm saying? And how humble he is, because he can see that you don't have faith in him, but he still loves you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, It's okay. It's okay. And I take that same thing with friends who go this way, or friends who don't understand, or once people I used to hang out with to say, well, you don't come out to the bar no more. You don't go hang out in these places no more. You don't rock with us no more. It's not that I don't do that no more. It's that I'm doing this. I'm being a father. I'm being present. And this requires my time. That doesn't mean I don't love you. I just can't be that way with you. I can't go down that path with you no more. I still love you. When I see you, it's all love. But just respect what I'm doing. Just like I respect what you're doing. I still love you. That's what, to me, my faith is like that. I'm always going to love you. We just can't love each other in the same path. That's all.
Yeah, everybody ain't destined to go with you. As you change, you're going to lose people. People are going to fall off, but the right ones are going to grow with you, and you're going to get some new ones. So I appreciate that. So yeah. Thank you for coming tonight. It was very, very, very impactful. You said some nuggets, bro. Like, you said some things, and that's why I knew having you on was going to be serious. It's going to be, you know what I mean? Your presence is impactful. And as you talk, you inspire curiosity. See what I did there? Tied all your titles in. I did. But no, I wanted to say thank you very much for what you do in the community. Thank you very much for what you do personally when we talk, and thank you for coming on tonight. It was very important for me to have you here, and you fulfilled all these expectations, man. It was a great conversation. Thank you for taking your time out of your day. Again, being a dad, organization leader, and full time, you're killing it. So thank you again for coming out with us, and thank you for coming here on the Forge Focus, and thank you all for paying attention. I hope you all got something from this the same way I did. Have a great night. Prepare to be forged.
Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for listening. My man Tillman Sims came out with some great nuggets tonight. Please make sure you follow us on social media at The Forge Forum on Instagram. Also follow us on Facebook at The Forge. Now we also have a website, www.theforgeforum.org. Thank you for your support. Watch us grow. We have our our Forge Forums every fourth Wednesday of the month at Opaque Center, 401 Penn Street. Come out, men share. They get together. We reflect. We talk about topics in a closed, safe space. It's the media you never knew you needed. We're also doing our professional men's clothing exchange. Check us out. Follow us on social media, all our channels. Get the lowdown on us, and see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and, more importantly, learned something that can affect your perspective on yourself and manhood as a whole. If you have found the value that we expect that you did, we encourage you to hit the like and subscribe button and share this video. Spread the word and tell anyone in your life who can benefit. We'll see you on the next episode. Prepare to be forged.